Boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, children of all ages, we've all known that Disney Marvel's been in quite the slump as of late over the last few years, losing billions of dollars at the box office as well as on their streaming service as well, just making a bunch of stuff that simply fell flat with the audiences out there. They had no desire to watch a lot of this stuff, they had no desire to be involved in it, and well, the stories just didn't make very much sense, and as soon as word of mouth got around that these things were hot garbage, well, they all cratered and crashed, ladies and gentlemen. Well, we've got a new report coming out from Forbes over there, and it talks about the fact that they have lost, if you do the math, at least $300 million on Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumamnia and the Marvels. Color us shocked there, boys and girls. These things have been a disastrous dumpster fires. The Walt Disney Company has lost billions of dollars over the last few years, and it's exactly what they deserve. They went out there seeking this new modern audience that doesn't actually exist, and it's all blown up in their faces. So we're going to check out this article from Bounding Into Comics, getting all of the juicy details, and show you the numbers and how much of an abysmal failure this is. But before we do, if you do enjoy our content, hit that like button, share with all your friends, and subscribe or follow if we have not already, boys and girls, because we are grinding, we are growing, and I could not do that without every single one of you. Also, leave us a comment in the section down below. Does it surprise you at all that they lost $300 million at minimum on these movies? Does it surprise you at all that they were just turned into this much of a box office disaster? Let us know what you think about all that in the comment section down below. So from Jacob Smith over into Bounding Into Comics. If there was one thing that modern Hollywood is great at, it's losing millions of dollars on films you didn't want to watch. Billions is actually more like it. And perhaps no studio in recent years has been more skilled in doing so than Disney. If failing upwards was a competition, Disney would be the pound for pound the #1 ranked in the world. 2023 was a rough year for the Disney-backed Marvel Studios creatively, financially, and even legally. When the year began, Marvel had planned for actor Jonathan Majors to be the villainous phase of the next phase of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, which his role as the time-traveling Kang the Conqueror set to star in Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumamania, or at least the next Avengers movies, then entitled Avengers Kang Dynasty. Several months and nasty legal battles later, not only was Majors out as Kang, but Disney had also wound up losing millions on 2 of these Phase 6 films, Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumamania and The Marvels, aka Captain Marvel 2. That's right, because Brie Larson wasn't good enough to carry a movie herself. No, you had to have 2 other strong empowered folks in it, and dialogue like Black Girl Magic that made literally no sense whatsoever. Boy, I wonder why that fell flat and lost money at the box office. More specifically, per Disney's financial statements from 2023, as obtained and relayed by Forbes, the retrospective box office failures of both films resulted in roughly a $296.4 million loss for the House of Mouse. And boys and girls, yes, and we always know that the real costs are generally hidden, even with all of their kind of reports, so we know the numbers are way higher than that. Released in February of 23, Quantumania was a major disappointment as the film was set up to bring Majors Kang as the next Thanos-level Marvel villain. However, the selling point did little to bring viewers, who instead just didn't bother to see Kang's reveal on the big screen. As a result, the film only drew in $476.1 million worldwide against a production budget of somewhere between $280 to $320 million. Yes, guaranteed flop, guaranteed loss. Several months later, Brie Larson made her post-Shang-Chi MCU return. I didn't even know she was in the Shang-Chi. I didn't see it, much like most of you out there as well. Return in the Marvels, wherein Larson's Captain Marvel joined Iman Vellani's Miss Marvel and Tiana Paris as Monica Rambeau to form a trio of spacefaring heroes. Yes, a trio of wham and power. But rather than smash TV movie crossover hit Disney execs thought it would be, the film ultimately turned out to be the franchise's biggest disaster, drawing in just $206.1 million on a production budget that's said to have surpassed $270 million. Yes, that thing turned into the biggest disastrous dumpster fire we have ever seen for Marvel. It was a flop beyond all competition. As a result, this film has gone down in history as not just the lowest grossing film of the MCU thus far, and one of the few MCU films not to break even in its theatrical run. The global audience had no desire to see this movie either. It was bad. According to Forbes, as both movies went on to gross $682.2 million worldwide, after the studios split the box office with the theaters, the Marvel Studios only earned $341 million from both movies, leaving them with a combined loss of almost $300 million. When you account for the marketing budget for both of these movies, which is in Hollywood generally calculated as being at least equal to that of the respective film's production budget, which actually, according to Robert Meyer Burnett, in the more modern era, it's 2.5 to 3 times. You need to do 2.5 to 3 times what the production budget was, because a lot of the times the marketing costs will actually end up being higher than the production budget in the modern era. Disney sunk over $1 billion into Quantumania and the Marvels to only recoup roughly 35% back. This loss, as well as the overall failure of the MCU's Phase 5, was so great that it prompted Marvel Studios to not just scrap their plans for Kang altogether, but are also bringing back the Russo brothers and Robert Downey Jr. for Avengers Doomsday and Avengers Secret Wars. Yes, they are trying to do a complete and total flip. We know that we've heard the rumors, talked about it, and we are starting to see a little bit more of that confirmation, is a lot of the activist producers who they would be considered were fired from Marvel in these last few rounds of layoffs. They are trying to clean house of all of the woke nonsense to try to right this ship, which is clearly floundering right now. Admittedly, 2024 has been a much better ride for the MCU. Deadpool and Wolverine obviously was super successful. Next up for is the troubled Captain America Brave New World, which has already been delayed by 2 years and was reshot almost entirely due to failed test screenings for the films. Its estimated budget currently sits at $350 to $375 million, meaning that the film will have to be a monster worldwide hit for the mouse to even think of sniffing a profit. It won't. It won't be. That movie is going to be another loss leader for them just because of all of the reshots, but they are trying to course correct as best they can, and I just don't think it's going to work out for them very well right now. The reason why Deadpool and Wolverine was a success because the fans trusted Ryan Reynolds, Sean Levy, and of course Hugh Jackman as well. That's why that movie did so well. That's why it was such a huge success, and honestly, it was a really good, fun movie as well, and so it's one of them situations where that ended up working out. Captain America Brave New World will not get that kind of word of mouth. Mark my words, boys and girls. And Thunderbolts, come on now. Thunderbolts, the C-list characters that nobody's going to care about? Yeah, no, that one's going to flop as well. 2024 will have one highlight for Disney Marvel, and of course, that will be none other than Deadpool and Wolverine. Other than that, it's probably going to be another flop after another flop. So yes, they lost combined at least $300 million on these movies last year, and that's why Disney is trying to do a turnaround right now. That's why Marvel is over there cleaning house and trying to right this ship, because at the end of the day, boys and girls, 2 plus 2 still equals 4. God is still on his throne in heaven, and up is still up, and down is still down, and eventually you do run out of other people's money when you try to push this kind of agenda-driven nonsense, chasing an audience that never existed, only to have it completely and totally blow up in your face. After all, at the end of the day, you get exactly what you deserve, and Disney Marvel, the $300 million on these movies losses that you got was exactly what you deserved.